And you mentioned you spent all this money on these Biz Now events and it didn't drive any revenue for you. So like what's the course done in terms of closing clients for you?
Oh man, it's crazy. I mean, there's a lot. Like there's three big ones that I mentioned. There's a housing investor that has like six or seven properties they've acquired. They have three projects that they have plans on, and they're like totally backwards. The guy came to me and, really needed help. There's an ADU builder that has about 20 active projects and we're ramping up like four or five of those. And then there's another capital fund that has very large projects, and we're kind of consulting. We're not going to be doing the main expediting on that, but that's kind of how a lot of those bigger relationships start. So, all told, I think we're at like 10 or 11 projects active with like probably at least that much in the pipeline just from those clients. And in terms of monetary value, like 75 to 150K. It depends a lot on the teams and how much they require of an expediter. But I mean, it's for sure going to take care of someone's salary, which is a huge relief.
And that all came from LinkedIn.
Yeah, I'm excluding. There was probably five or six other jobs that came in from my personal network and jujitsu and stuff. And like, yeah, as soon as I kind of optimized my profile from the webinar, people started like that's when the cold DM started. I think when I made it clear what I offer and what I do, people are like, "Oh, I need that." And then they started reaching out to me. And that's really been the most of it. I'm still kind of implementing the reaching out and messaging portion. I think that part of my game can be stronger. But I think even just like optimizing your profile, if you're offering a service that people need and it's in demand and they're on LinkedIn, just that much I think can really change the way your business operates.
So in the 4 weeks that you were in the program, you drove somewhere between 75 to $150,000 worth of like booked revenue for your company.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I really like about your story is it's not like you have this like massive following. I think when I looked, you had like 971 followers. And I think a lot of people think, oh, you need to have this huge audience to be able to generate something on LinkedIn. And I think you're proof that you don't. You just need to have the right content, the right message, and kind of follow the different strategies.
Yeah, and I think in a lot of ways it works better that way, right? Like I think what I'm seeing from what's come in through the door is people who didn't they weren't people who were looking for expediters, right? They were people who like found out they're like, "Oh, this solves the problem that I have." And so I think like if you have a really niche service and people don't know about you, this is actually going to be more effective than somebody. I mean, I'm sure it'll be very effective with somebody with a ton of followers, but I think, yeah, like if you're, there's another person in the cohort who just started their business. And I remember that I wish I was in her shoes so much and I had been doing this from the start, things would be so different. Um, so yeah, I think it's so good.
And how did you find clients before? Because that you sent me something on Slack that really resonated. Maybe you could kind of share that.
Yeah, so I mean, it was all when I did this at two big companies, and I had some clients that came with me from those companies, and then when people were out on my own, when people heard that I was out on my own, a lot of people kind of came to me. Both my parents are architects in LA, so I have a fairly decent network of architects. But I think kind of a lot of people knew that they had a lot of power over me. I was getting squeezed by clients. Like clients would come to me with a project and then they would negotiate. Like one, I'd be like, yeah, I'd love to do that project. And they'd be like, could you do it for this rate? Could you drop your rate for this project? And I was up against a hard wall. Like I really couldn't do anything. I was at the whims of my clients. And like I really got into these state laws and housing policy because I'm trying to chase down work and put myself at the intersection and learn niches where people want to do projects. And that's a good thing to do, but it doesn't solve your marketing problem. And so effective marketing, and like here's the thing is I'm a very small company. I'm not wealthy yet. I'm not wealthy. And I don't have, I talked to I had somebody who did my business cards, and they told me that their other clients basically give them a number of what they need to write off, and that's what their marketing budget is. And I couldn't be in more of an opposite situation where it's like every dollar that I contribute to marketing or trying to drive sales is dollars that come out of my pocket, and really affect me and really affect the business. So I'm really tight to make that investment. And so there was some business, like some people would find me from LinkedIn. I kind of like started driving business in the past year, just not knowing and trying to post more. And so I started getting a little bit of business, but it wasn't reliable. Some posts would hit, other posts wouldn't. I didn't really understand why certain things were working and what wasn't working. And then, like, instantly, like from the webinar, things really shifted quickly.
Cool. I'm so glad to hear that for you. What would you say? One of the things I hear from people a lot is, "Oh, I'm really busy." And I think like as an on like having sat in a similar shoes to where you're at now and like running my own thing, like I feel that too. I'm so busy. What do you tell people, or like what would you say if there was another business owner that's like kind of like, yeah, we need to grow. Yeah, we need to book more revenue, but like I'm just really busy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's it. And I think to me, it's hard for me to think of another way that would be more time efficient and give you the freedom, right? The only way that's more time efficient is referrals, which is kind of what I was doing. And referrals are great, but you're at the whims of people who are referring you and you don't have a lot of control over your business. And then, kind of going to the other end of the spectrum, like any other marketing solution is going to take tons of time. Most real companies have weekly, monthly marketing meetings. They have a whole department or a whole section, that is committed to that. And so I think, probably for an entrepreneur or a solopreneur, the best, a very reasonable transition model is like a social media model, right? Like everyone has a social media. You're probably posting regularly, or you probably did at one point. For me, it's incredible because I spend a lot of my time in like lines or camping out in government offices. So I can be on LinkedIn commenting and engaging, when I'm kind of doing other things, which is super duper helpful. And then I think like your method and your materials are really, really huge. Like the agent, creating the agent and the AI stuff and helping it write. I mean, trying to write on your own, like when you get writer's block and you're working through ideas, like that can really kill you. Like even doing a LinkedIn strategy, you could sink tons and tons and tons of time, I could see, into writing the perfect post. And so I think just like the AI kind of helping you write it, driving you in the right direction, you kind of guiding us on like, the big thing is get your reps in, get your at bats. Volume is really super important. There's nothing, short of stupid things that we wouldn't do. There's nothing that can't be undone. So just like experiment and play with it. Um, yeah, so I think it's a very time effective strategy, especially when you're using the tools.
And do you feel like the course has made posting and doing the content easier for you?
Oh, yeah, no question. I mean, for one, not just easier, but more like I think the big thing is more effective. Like I would spend all this time and just not know if it was going to work or what like the formula was to driving business through LinkedIn. So I was putting a ton of effort into social media posts that like it's not really about my friend group. It was just kind of weird. So like yeah, having the agents and also just I mean, I should also say the recordings, going back through the recordings, listening to them, the materials are super helpful. I mean, I reference them when I write posts off very, very frequently.
That's great. And then kind of wrapping up, I think the other question that I have is kind of around the community or the cohort too. Like you've been really engaged in commenting on other people's stuff in the program and they're commenting on your stuff. And I like it kind of warms my heart to see that like community blossoming, but maybe you could just talk a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think this is a I don't know how to say this without blatantly blowing smoke up your ass, but it's a testament to your crowd or your audience that you cultivated, and the people that you've reached out to and did it. There's several people that are in the development and AEC space that there's overlap, and we're collaborating directly, thinking of Sam and Bailey specifically, and also Florentine and Tanya and stuff. But also the people who aren't in construction are just doing really cool stuff. Like I want to work with a Perba. I want her to help Permit Dog. Like I was like, there's a LLM marketing consultant. That's fantastic. Like, please start posting stuff on LinkedIn so I can understand. So just like meeting all these really cool people who are really helpful and really supportive. And I also think that like this is not as easy as you make it as a general practice, writing and sharing yourself and marketing yourself and doing sales. Like, there's a whole world of people who train for this, and I think everyone kind of recognizes that it's challenging and it requires some discomfort. And I think going through that with a group and kind of bonding with those people and going through the discomfort together was definitely, I don't know, like I'm very grateful for the group. I wonder, this probably would have been a lot harder for me if I was just doing one-on-one coaching, to be honest, because of the lack of community and support, I think like one thing that Bailey mentioned early on was that he was um has multiple businesses, and like how do I deal with that? And like I do all kinds of projects. I do events, I do alcohol permits, I do things that have nothing to do with construction. And I struggled with that too, and I think like there's a natural tension in there and we all got to deal with it. But I think like having the community that really, really helped in so many ways. And I'm really excited to make all these cool friends and stay connected.
Yeah, I love that because I can sense it. I can tell in all the Slack and I see everyone supporting each other and kind of encouraging and going through it. So that's really it's like, you launch this thing. This is the first time I've ever done this, right? You're in the first group and you kind of have a sense of how it's going to go, but you don't know for sure how it's going to go. And so all of this has kind of been a giant experiment. And so, it's been very cool to see it all play out.
That's awesome. I'm glad I could be part of that.
Yeah. Okay, Clayton. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to share this, and kind of share what your experience has been like and the results. And obviously, I'm going to keep rooting for you on the sidelines. And I'm so excited that like you have this for your business and that you can, you know, one of the things that you were saying about, clients are squeezing you and you have, you're kind of at their mercy is like the best way to combat that is you have options. You can say no to people. You can say, sorry, I'm busy. Like you can get on my schedule or you're not going to get on the schedule, but this is the price. And kind of taking back that power is so amazing. And that's from like the sales and marketing channel. So I'm really glad
Yeah,
that you feel like you've got that control in your business.
feels like I'm running my own business again.
I love that. I love that. So, okay. Thank you, Clayton. Appreciate you.